What's up, y'all? I am back again for this series of blowout and trim. So I am trimming my hair today. Sorry, my pigtails is crazy, but I had to part my hair into certain sections so I can make sure this trim is nice and good so I can get it right. You know what I'm saying? I parted my hair into, I think this is 8 sections, and I twisted it all up after my blow dry so I can start trimming. This is my first time trimming my hair, so I was so freaking nervous. Like, I was nervous, but I had to get it done. So I took the twist out in the back of my hair. I started with the back first. And y'all, when I say my ends is toe up, they toe up. Like, I really had to trim my hair because it's crazy. Do you see that? Look at that. It gotta go. Gots to go. What I'm doing is I'm going to take my wide tooth comb and I'm just going to smooth that out just to make sure that I am preparing this properly, that I have no tangles, no knots, none of that. So I'm taking my wide tooth comb to comb all of this out to get it prepared for this trim. And it's very important that you are taking some type of tool and not finger detangling, because you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you're taking the proper tools. I'm also taking my detangling brush to kind of like go over it again to make sure that I am not missing anything. I want my hair to be so smooth, and that's why I did the blowout. Now I'm taking like this small tooth comb. If you have like a rat tail comb, that's cool too, but just have this one on hand. So I'm gonna take this one, and this is the important one because you are basically using this one to help trim your ends. So what I'm doing right now is basically just going through my hair again, just to make sure there's no knots. And this is also the part where you want to feel the texture of your hair, because as soon as you start to feel that resistance, that's where you're going to trim your ends. And you want to be very, very careful with that. So my resistance, of course, I'm going to show you again. I'm combing it all out. And you don't want to confuse the resistance with the texture of your hair. That's why I was combing it so many times, y'all. So I'm combing it again just to make sure that I am right where that resistance is right there. That's where it's stopping. That's where the comb is like, So I'm taking these shears. You want to make sure that you have some good quality shears, nothing too cheap, no scissors, because we don't cut our hair with scissors. We cut our hair with shears. So grab you some shears, baby, and make sure that you are trimming your hair with all the tools that you need. So this is how much I'm trimming. Look at that. It gets to go. All of that gets to go. I did this as a voiceover because, y'all, I seriously did not want to mess my trim up. I needed to focus. So sorry if my trim is a little off camera, but like I said, this is my first time, so I just had to be super careful. I'm taking those parts again. It was a twist. So I took one part of the twist and I trimmed it. Now I'm taking the other half of that twist and I'm trimming that other half. So I'm going through with the tools again, the wide tooth comb, that detangling brush. Those are both the 2 tools that you need to make sure all the knots, all of the tangles is out of your hair. Anything to prevent your hair from being smooth, you want to make sure that's gone. Then you want to take your small tooth comb, making sure that your hair is smooth, but also you want to start feeling where the hair is getting resistance. So if you have to put your fingers into like little 2 scissors just to feel that resistance, then take that step. The purpose of taking those 2 fingers, the middle and the index, to make sure that the trim aligns. So it looks like a good trim so far. I'm satisfied with it. I was, had to take a little deep breath. I'm not good with like length and knowing how many inches I took off, but I think I took off maybe like an inch or an inch and a half or something like that. That they needed to go. So I don't remember the last time I had a trim. I want to say February, and this is September. So I did have like a big chop, but that's really not considered a trim. Take your wide tooth comb, make sure it's smooth out. Take your detangling brush as like an extra precaution to make sure all of the tangles are gone. And then you also want to just make sure your hair is super smooth. And then you're going to take your small tooth comb and you're going to comb through that hair again just to make sure that everything is running smooth. And you want to make sure also that resistance, you want to watch out for the resistance when you're using your small tooth comb while you're combing your hair. Know where that resistance is. So that's how much I'm taking off. That's where the resistance stopped. And I'm just trimming the ends. Like I said, my bad if it's off camera, but I really had to focus because this was my first time. Next time it'll be better, I promise. So I'm just taking my shears and clipping those ends off. And that's how much I clipped. Not too bad at all. And so basically I'm taking the second part of that twist and I'm going through again any ends that look shallow and you can feel the tension. That is where you're going to trim. So any ends that look shallow, any ends that you start to feel the tension with that small tooth comb, that's where you're going to start to trim your ends. Be very, very careful though, because you don't want to confuse that. So I'm just moving this all out the way and I'm going to speed this process up just a little bit. And I'm going to go through the steps that I went through in the back of my hair. So to be completely real with y'all, I had somewhere to go this day and you don't want to do this. You want to do this on the most free day that you have, because I was like in a rush a little bit. I think I took way too much off. Like once I started to get to the top of my hair, I think I took too much off. Not, a bunch, but I think that I could have took just a little less off. Like I said, it's important to just go through with that small tooth comb to make sure that tension is correct and you're not mistaking that for the texture of your hair. Like I took too much off right there, but it'll grow back. So I'm not tripping about that. If anything, my hair is going to grow back faster because of it. So I really am not sad about it. So I'm going to speed this up and show you how I did the front half of my hair, and then I'll come back on camera once I am finished. This is me with my finished trim. I think I did a pretty good job for my first time. Like I said, I did take a little bit too much off in the front half of my hair, but it's gonna grow back, so I'm not tripping. The back half looks so good. Everything looks so even. Even when I put my fingers through my hair, like I don't feel no knots, no nothing. It feels great. If you enjoyed the series, make sure you go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week.